toward the queen, so of course the queen steps aside. Now this rook is aiming toward the queen here again, and now white plays a move which I must admit I never would have played, which is why I'm not the world champion like Botvinnik was. He plays bishop to e2. I probably would have gone bishop to g2, figuring I have to guard my king, but Botvinnik realizes that without the late squared bishop, there's really no danger to the white king, without black having a late squared bishop, I should say, and he's aiming for that key square. See, he identifies that square as being weak, and now black makes a very bad move. He puts another pawn on the dark square, and now look how his bishop is getting buried. You see? His bishop looks very bad, and now this square, let's say what the author says to describe it. He actually says that black is losing at this point. He says, I gave 2 question marks to pawn to c5. It may seem harsh because it doesn't lose material, but I want to emphasize that now he's lost. He's losing. I got to admit, it seems a little bit hard to believe that black's actually losing, but at the grandmaster level, this is a strategically lost game for black, meaning that if white plays accurately, black's going to lose. There's something that black can do. Only white can prevent himself from winning by, for example, if white did this, then there would be no win. And I know a lot of players who, without even thinking, would immediately play that move and throw away their advantage. You want to leave that square open for the pieces. All right, so at this point, what did black play here? Well, why is black lost? Material is equal and white hasn't gotten a piece past the second rank. The answer lies in the pawns. White has 2 beautiful squares here, c4 and d5. The way the author describes it, it's like 2-0 in favor of white. See, if you were playing this game at chess.com or chesskid.com, this is the one thing I don't like about those websites. They would say it's equal. You would look in the upper corner and it would say equal because it's equal material. But as the author points out later in a few pages, it's really 2-0 in favor of white. Chess is a battle for squares, and the most important, more important than material. Material is important, but there's 2 other considerations, I call them, that are more important than material, and those are squares and tempos. So white is ahead 2-0 in terms of squares, and you know what tempos are, right? Every move is a tempo.
Every move is a tempo.
Right.
And if you go forward.
Right, so I mean, I had a student that lost a game a couple of months ago where he moved the same piece 7 straight moves and lost the game. And at the end of the game, his bishop and rook never moved. I says, how could you move that rook 7 times? See, that's why he lost, is because of tempos. He gave away like 6 or 7 moves for free to his opponent. But in this case, it's not tempos that's going to cause black to lose. It's squares. White has 2 good squares and black doesn't have any. But if white ever made a bad move like this, now it would be equal. Because white would have given away his good square and he'd still have 1 square left, but now black would have a square. See? So it's very important not to do that. So black brings his knight back here. The knight comes in like this. And now black, realizing that, see, he wants to attack on the white squares. See these white squares aiming toward the king? He doesn't need this piece. This piece is on the green squares. So he's hoping to get rid of it. He's hoping black will do that. And in return, he'll get rid of this piece. And now he's solved the problem of his bad bishop. Not bad bishop, not as bad as that bishop, but his bad bishop in the sense that he can't participate in the battle for the late squares. And black says, I'll just chase away the bishop like this. And even though the bishop does not make a move for the rest of the game, he's done his job, because look. See that? And you see how bad that bishop is there? So,
even have work.
yeah, this bishop is going to have no mobility by the time the game is over. And even though this bishop doesn't make another move, he did his job because he opened up the door, if you want to call it. It's like there's a wide open door leading right to the black king.
Yeah, well,
And
a piece is in the middle.
right, now, if black still had this bishop, no problem. If black still had this bishop, he'd be okay. But he doesn't have that bishop. And there's nobody guarding those squares at all. So what happens next is knight takes the knight, bishop check, and I think he brings his rook over to the d file. Let me just make sure. Yeah, no, actually first he chases the bishop further back with his pawn. Look at that, bishop's getting buried deeper and deeper. And now he brings his rook over here, which is a good move. You know, rooks belong in open files and half open files. So that's just a good positional move. And now he's going to start putting his pieces on the white squares. So he puts his queen on the white square here, and they trade off one rook.